So I'm going to do positive classroom discipline as my management. It was created by Frederick H. Jones. One of the quotes that I found interesting about this is he says that classroom discipline is the business of enforcing classroom standards and building patterns of cooperation to maximize learning and minimize disruptions. So that was his idea of what classroom management is. I put monkey see, monkey do because basically classroom management is acting as you would want your students to act and talking to them how you would want them to talk to you or others and modeling it for them, and they'll learn after that. He said that 50% of the classroom time is lost due to student misbehavior and being off task. 80% of this is because talking without permission, 19% is daydreaming, out of the seat, making noise, and then 1% is serious misbehavior that is not acceptable in the classroom under any circumstances. So to implement the positive classroom management, there's 3 steps. The first one is limit setting. So on the handout, I have this in green because it's like at a stoplight you go and you don't have to think about it. This is more of your physical actions around the students, so making eye contact, getting closer to them if you think that they're misbehaving, or even your tone of voice and your facial expressions, your gestures. All those are going to reflect on how your students act and how they treat each other as well. Because they're going to eventually see you as a role model and want to do the same behaviors that you're showing them. And then incentive systems was the second. That's in yellow because you need to start slowing down and not use those as much as the limit setting. I have examples on here like using stars or showing their work. It's basically something that's going to make them want to cooperate and want to do good. Sometimes the students who really have very little interest in learning aren't going to they're not going to care about those little things. But like I know in my film classroom, he did, like you can do line leader or you carried the lunch baskets down or something like that. And line leader was like the biggest thing to the students. So the kids who got on WOW were like drawn for who got to be line leader, and WOW was on the ladder system. So things like that made them want to do really good and work with each other and be on their best behavior. Backup systems was the third part of this. It's in red because according to Jones, you really want to use this as a last resort and try not to have to use any of these punishments because he believes that punishments aren't really going to fix the behavior. Some of the time it just makes them more mad, and as in one of the previous slides, 1% of the time is lost as serious behavior, and other times it's kind of kids being kids. So the steps on these are, there's a warning, and a lot of these are how the school's going to do it anyways. There's a warning, conference with the student, they get a timeout, loss of privileges, they go being sent to the office, and this is a really big one to Jones because he said being sent to the office is almost more of a punishment for you, because then you're going to have to make up the time that they didn't get in the classroom. The principal gets time taken out of their day, and they're probably, meetings, doing whatever they need to do. So it's really not actually benefiting anybody. Detention is kind of the same thing, but it's a little bit better because they can still work on stuff. Then there's conference with parent, and then in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension are the worst. And he says also refrain from those because like in out-of-school suspension, they're not getting any information. They're just going to start falling behind, and you're just going to have to catch them up anyways. So if you can catch them before you have to get to any of these backup systems and try to rework the behaviors in the first place, it'll be a lot better. Well, those are all bad. I think that's actually my last one. But personally, I think this would work better with direct instruction because if it's like me up here standing here, I can walk over and be closer to somebody and they'll know like you need to quit talking, you need to stop doodling and pay attention to me. As if compared to cooperative learning where the students are more engaged and you're kind of expecting them to talk more, I just feel like it's a lot harder to implement this. I mean, you can do it, but I just feel it's a lot harder and when you are trying to role model behaviors for them, if they're already in their groups and talking, they're going to have their own behaviors anyways, and you can't tell them, no, that's not how you do it when they're trying to figure something out. So, and I personally, I can see myself using this. I didn't think about it as when you're a teacher, just being the role model. Like, I guess if you see a teacher yelling at students or getting really upset with them very fast, the students are going to catch on and be like, well, that's what my teacher does, so it's okay. So that's just kind of what I had on it. And